I think it's been the whole semester in Genesis chapter 1. It's an amazing chapter. It's poetry, it's structure. What's going on here is truly, truly remarkable. As I say, it's a very structured chapter. There are 6 days with the same kind of structure. We start each day with, and God said, let there be, whatever it is, and it was so, whatever it is. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening, and there was morning, day, whatever. The individual days of the week provide some very interesting insights into creation. You have day 1 providing God's creating light. Day 2, the heavens and the waters. Day 3, the land and the vegetation. Day 4, the sun, moon, and stars. Day 5, the air and the water animals. And day 6, the land animals, and that does include humanity as well. Now, when I say this is a structured text, in many ways the structure revolves around 2 Hebrew words that we have at the very beginning of the chapter. Because at the beginning, the earth is said to be tohu vabohu. It is said to be shapeless or formless, and it's said to be empty or not containing anything. And those 2 words in many ways give us insights into the structure of the text, because the first 3 days are fixing the tohu part. We're giving shape. And the last 3 days are fixing the bohu part. It's actually filling up that which is empty. Look at the correspondence that you have. Day 1, light. Day 4, sun, moon, and stars. Day 2, heavens and waters. Day 5, air and water animals. Day 3, land and vegetation. Day 6, land animals. So you have this wonderful structure that comes across in this relationship that you see in this text. So it's not strictly speaking poetry, but there is wonderful poetics going on in chapter 1 of the book of Genesis. The only day that doesn't follow this wonderful format of, and God said, and it was, and there was evening, and there was morning, and the tohu, and the bohu, and all the rest of the structure. The one anomaly in this entire chapter is day 7. On day 7, God is resting. And it's interesting because day 7 is never said to begin or end. It doesn't have that same format. And that's led some people to suggest that perhaps day 7 is a statement that the chapter is trying to make, that God is resting from the kind of creating he was doing days 1 through 6, and now God is actually interacting with God's people, so that we're sort of in day 7 right now in a way, which is kind of an interesting way of reading the text. The speech command structure, God saying, let there be, throughout the chapter focuses on divine intervention, not divine technique. That means that creation doesn't get God's hand dirty. We don't have any picture here of how God created. This is a purely transcendent picture of God, a picture of God that is so high and so big and master of all, king of all creation, that God only has to speak something and it happens. When the Queen of England wants a rose garden by the palace, she doesn't go off to Home Depot and grab a hoe and a rake and go plant. No, she says, we want a rose garden by the side of the palace, and next thing you know, she has a rose garden by the side of the palace. That's the picture we have of God, a God who is so big and so powerful, all God needs to do is speak it, and it actually happens. So it is a very poetic expression of the transcendence of God. Again, no details on how God created. And I think it's important to note that I think Genesis 1 is purposely not interested in how God created, only that God created. Because if we know how God created, that diminishes the transcendence of God. It somehow lowers God's place to know how. We actually have a higher picture of God, a transcendent picture of God here in Genesis chapter 1 that shows God as big and powerful and massive and over everything. And we're going to see that in many ways Genesis 2 provides a wonderful contrast to that, and I would argue a contrast by design.